Welcome to Make Believe. I am Ren, one of the founders of this channel, and this is Tales of Make Believe, our weekly interview show for role players to share their stories, adventures, and close the gaps between all of our loosely entwined communities, and to show folks new to the hobby or curious about it that TTRPGs and LARPing can be for everyone. I'm here tonight with Sophie, which is super exciting because Sophie and I have been Twitter friends for quite a long time, but have never actually talked, face to, or, computer screen to computer screen or anything like that. I've seen, some of your YouTube stuff, so I, know what you sound like and that sort of thing, but still, first time interacting.
Yay!
Now, Sophie, do you, could you introduce yourself, talk about what kind of role-playing you do, and any other fun fact that you feel like sharing?
Sure. Hi, I'm Sophie. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns, and I have been LARPing and playing D&D for about, how old am I? About 4-ish years now, and I do all sorts of role-playing, but my favorite is definitely like I lovingly call it fantasy teenager role-playing or LARPing. It's because I usually LARP as fantasy people that are also teenagers, and yeah, that's kind of my thing. And what's a fun fact about me? Oh my god. Are there fun facts about me? Yes, I studied English studies and Scandinavian studies, so I speak 4 European languages. And I am in fact German, even though I sound like a huge British person, but I just listened to a lot of One Direction when I was 16. That is a true story.
4
That's
languages.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Thank you.
They don't push enough foreign language studies on American students.
They don't do that in the UK either, which I find really sad, because I know 2 languages anyway, because I learned English in school and obviously know German. So I did French and I did Swedish, and yeah, you just get around a lot easier when you know a lot of languages.
Wow, that's really cool. That's all right. So before we get into all the LARP nerdery, we have still nerdery, but icebreaker question. And these questions are always farmed from the Discord community, which, if you don't know, you can join via the linky button thing that says Discord underneath the stream. There's all kinds of buttons down there you can play with. It's fine. But in that Discord server that we have, which we started for LARP nerds to share stories and such, there is a questions for guests channel, so that you can always get your questions in early for the guests that are going to be on our show. So these community questions for today, we've got: how many dice do you have, and do you have any favorites?
I feel like I'm one of the people that has not that many dice, and I always play the same 2 sets. And ironically, they are right next to me because I am a well-prepared person. But at the moment, I think this one is my favorite set because I got it from my brothers for Christmas, and you can't tell, sadly, but it's like rainbow colored, but also see-through, and it has like a bunch of glitter in them. And yeah, I love those very much. And the other one has little shells in them, which I also think is really cute.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. And they are from like a shop from Scotland somewhere. But yeah, I don't have that many dice because I only buy dice when I plan a new character, and I don't have that many characters that I play in like tabletop roleplay gaming. So I'm not one of those dice goblins.
Oh yeah.
Not yet. I'm getting there.
I never set out to be, but I just kept my friends keep sending me sets, and it's great. Don't stop. I like it. But as a result, I have a lot of sets now.
I feel like I should invite people to send me sets more often and be like, because I would like to be a dice goblin, because I think I like the idea of being that person. And also, that's really cute. But also, we don't really have a lot of shops where you can buy them. We have a single one in the city that I live in. It's a massive city, and that's kind of, and with shops being closed, that's not like a thing. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm also a student. I don't have money.
Yeah.
Actually, you sent me an eyeshadow, the last time, and I wear it every single day because it's my favorite eyeshadow I have ever received in my entire life because it's beautiful.
It's awesome.
Wearing it today. I love it so much. Yeah.
I'm wearing, guilty pleasure, I got the Baby Yoda palette from ColourPop.
I get that.
Well, it's all greens and golds and browns, and that is my whole thing. Also, it's Baby Yoda. So.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I would have gotten that too if shipping to Germany wasn't ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's all part of it. It's okay. It's good because that means I can't hoard makeup, because otherwise I know I would order from ColourPop like every 2 weeks, and I think my wife would eventually drown in makeup palettes, and we can't have that.
All right, we should probably talk about LARPing, I guess.
Yeah, let's.
Makeup.
Suddenly just turned into a beauty stream. That was unexpected.
I think they have those actually.
Like LARP beauty streams, that should be a thing, because I always look for ways to make everything like waterproof and smudge proof, and usually after like 2 hours I look like a huge mess, but you know, usually it kind of works.
Yeah, you get very sweaty and your makeup just starts to...
Yeah. I just wear literal like like spray glue as like my setting spray.
This isn't one of the questions, but now I'm curious. Have you ever played a LARP character that required like full like all green face or like super a ton of like prosthetic-y makeup?
Not yet, no. There is a character, there's an NPC I'm not allowed to talk about that is potentially going to have body paint, but I am allowed to make her my own version. So if I can avoid painting myself green, I think I might, because he's going to appear for like solid 15 minutes. Am I going to spend 2 hours making myself green? Probably not. So yeah, no, so far I haven't done any like prosthetic works or anything. I would like to, but I don't have the skill either, so I would have to build that before I'm really confident in doing anything in that department.
I find this year through not LARPing, but following a lot of cosplayers and things, I've learned a bunch of things from them that I will be able to take LARPing in the future, such as a lot of them, if they're playing like a blue or a green character, they'll do their face, but they get these like body stockings that are the right color, that like, you know, with gloves, and it goes like it's like a whole shirt that is the right color, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would have saved me so much time when I was playing, you know, whatever monster back in the LARPs I used to run.
Yeah, no, I
paint this.
I recently saw someone like tweet about like opera gloves that you can buy that have like loads of different colors, and I was like, that's genius. I never even like thought about that. That would make everyone's life so much easier. Yeah. But yeah, usually I just play blonde white girl, so that's pretty easy for me.
All right, so LARP questions.
Yay. Let's go.
So the first one, you know, how did you get into LARPing?
For me, that was kind of a two-way street, I would say. On the one hand, I had friends that were LARPing, and I was kind of like looking at them really jealous, and I was kind of like, oh, I want to do this too, this is so cool. And on the other side, I realized that I was doing it for my entire life, and I was just kind of like, this has always been a part of me, why am I not, like, I always have been making up characters and kind of like LARPing by myself, and so I realized, okay, so I want to do this. I think this is really awesome. This is a hobby that I really want to partake in. And it all started with a Halloween event that me and my best friend, who I organize all of the things with, started organizing, because we just really wanted to be cool vampires for an evening, and that turned into my first LARP, if you want to call it that. It was like a murder mystery game in the end. It was just us sitting around a table, but it was my introduction into the topic, because I was able to, on the one hand, consume media about LARP and learn what LARP is about, but also take these characters that have been living in my head for years and make them into people that would then, meet other people. And the final part was starting to organize things. So yeah, that's kind of how it started. I just watched a lot of YouTube, and then I was kind of like, oh, I want to do that. That's really cool. And my friends were doing it, and I was kind of like, yay, why not?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, or I know several people that have fallen into LARP by, murder mysteries being kind of their gateway thing. They were like, well, I was partially in costume anyway, and I had a funny accent. I guess I was kind of LARPing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think it's also kind of a good way if you feel awkward about these things. I am the type of person that my dream job is becoming one of those birthday princesses. Like, I would love to just become one of those Disney princesses that goes to like children's birthday parties, because that sounds amazing. Why am I not doing that? Because it's really expensive, but that's a different story. And also birthday parties don't exist at the moment. But I always liked the idea of like being someone else for like an evening or like an afternoon, and then I kind of like roped all of my friends into doing this evening with me, and we all figured out, oh, this is something that we really like, and this is something that's really cool, and it's so low effort, but at the same time it's so easy to get into, and just I think it's a good gateway to kind of go in between. I'm just having a fun evening with my friends, but also I am an evil vampire that wants to kill people, because that happened.
So now I'm curious, which Disney princess would you want to be?
All of them. No, I think I would love to be Ariel, because she's my favorite Disney princess, and I just love Ariel so much. But people always say that I should be Elsa, but I think that's the hair, and I kind of feel like I would need a wig and everything.
Wigs are a thing.
Wigs are a thing, that's true. But I would also really like to be Aurora, because I feel like we've kind of have forgotten about Aurora a little bit, because she's really basic and she doesn't say anything, and her story is kind of taken away from her, and I feel like we need to reclaim Aurora as someone who's really cool, because especially with like Maleficent and those films, that Aurora is really cool, and I would like to be her. Maybe that would be super awesome.
I still haven't seen those. I think I probably.
They are fantastic. They are so good. Honestly, they are. Also, the aesthetics, beautiful.
I've always wanted to know what Aurora's opinion was on the dress, whether or not she wanted it blue or she wanted it pink, because nobody ever asked her.
That's true. That is true. We don't, spoiler, but that's sadly we don't have that. But they have a really lovely way of including the dress.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of like it's like a nice little thing. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Would recommend watching. It's amazing.
I'll add it to my list, which is very long.
Oh, I get that one.
So, other than, so your first thing was the vampire.
The vampire thing, yeah.
At this point, now that you've done a few, what is your preferred style or genre of LARP to play in? Like, fantasy versus sci-fi, or boffer versus parlor LARP. And then also, do you prefer to be on the player side or the organizer side?
That's a really difficult question, because I think I prefer fantasy, but I've never done sci-fi. So we always really wanted to do something sci-fi, but it just hasn't happened yet. But I think I would really like to do something in like we would always really like a Star Wars LARP. My friends and I always talk about Star Wars LARP, and at some point we're going to make it happen. But maybe not this year. But so far, yeah, I've been, as I said at the beginning, I really enjoy the fantasy teenager thing. I go to a Percy Jackson-ish LARP, and I go to a Harry Potter-ish LARP, and yeah, I play teenagers that can do cool things, and that's kind of my thing, and it's very much talking and not so much fighting, but that also always depends on the people that are there, like especially with the PGO one. There is fighting, and I do own a sword, and I occasionally hit people with it, and that's great fun. But it's not in a technical way. It's just we play capture the flag, and occasionally someone throws a dagger at you, but it's nothing serious in the way that we count points or anything. Mm-hmm. So
that's the camp.
Yeah, Camp Half-Blood.
Thank you. Yes, I haven't actually read any Percy Jackson either.
Don't watch the films.
Okay.
Do read the books. They are really, really lovely. Yeah, they are. The audiobooks are also great. Can recommend.
Okay.
If you're an audiobooks person, I can highly recommend the audiobooks. They are fantastic. Also, with the organizers or player type of site, I like both, and I think it kind of depends on the type of event that I go to. I'm a person that likes being informed of things that are happening around me. So for me, organizing is great fun because I know what's happening. Like we have a Downton Abbey inspired game, so like an Edwardian game, which is so much fun, and I organize that, or I help organize that. And I knew that the Titanic has sunk, your husband has died thing was going to happen, and I was kind of like working towards it with the people around me, but I also enjoy just not knowing what the plot is going to be. So it kind of depends on my mood, I guess. But at the end of the day, the type of events that I go to, we all try to work with one another. So especially since most events I go to are organized by friends, it's a little bit easier to be like roped into organizing at least a tiny bit, whether that is, can you go do this thing for me because I won't be able to manage because of timing, or we have this issue, please fix this. So yeah, my friends recently said that I'm the organization behind the organization, and I kind of like that. I take that. I like that position of being like the last man standing. I think often that's what I am.
I think I agree with you. I feel like when I'm actively LARPing, I really like to have a game that I'm a player at and have a game that I'm an organizer of, just to balance out my existence in the LARP world. So
I completely get that. Yeah, with every LARP I start organizing, I apply to a new one, which isn't great for my time schedule because it's so busy. But yeah, I enjoy both things so much because I started out organizing. I didn't go to my first event as a player, but I went as an organizer. It's kind of, I just love both so much. Yeah, it's a really boring answer. Oh well.
No, it's definitely not. I think it's good to have both perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it kind of like opens your view onto how much work organizing LARP is. And I've realized that recently with people starting their own things, or the way that people deal with the organizers, especially in the current situation with events having to be cancelled even though they were planned and stuff like that, and I often see that some people don't have a lot of understanding for people having to cancel stuff, and those things being those are difficult decisions, obviously, especially in our situation where things were fine and now they're not fine, and being someone who also organizes things and being someone who also had to cancel events, I feel like I have a greater understanding for how much work and how much love that also takes, and kind of like admitting to yourself, okay, yeah, this is not happening, but at the same time also knowing I put a ridiculous amount of work into this game. Like for Summerton Hall, that's what it's called. I wrote like 40 letters by hand. That was a weekend, and Jenny and I, who I organized everything with, we had like Zoom calls every 2 days, something like that. And we were organizing plot, and because we write plot for every single player, because we are only 24 people, so you can do that. You can give everyone their individual plot line, and everyone gets letters, and we do all of these tiny things to besides the like overarching big plot that's also happening on the side, but also needs to be organized, and that takes a lot of time, that takes a lot of effort, and I think knowing that makes me more appreciative as a player as well, because I see those little details. I see how much work went into posters that are on the wall that no one notices because you just walk by them, or recently for a game I'm going to hopefully in October, someone did like a menu for a restaurant, and those are things that take time out of your day, and there is so much effort, but at the same time, no one is going to look at that more than 5 minutes, and it's just kind of like yeah, that exists. So yeah, I like having both perspectives, because it just makes me more appreciative of both things.
What I'm hearing is that I desperately need to go to a LARP that you run.
You are very welcome.
You do things exactly like I do. I have a whole drawer full of wax seal kits and different stamps and different colors, because every NPC has a different seal, etc., etc. I've spent hours, probably days, maybe more, of my time generating in-world newspapers.
Exactly.
That get distributed to players. They read them for 10 minutes and then they throw it away.
Yeah. We the newspaper thing is something that's extremely special for Summerton Hall, especially since my co-organizer Jenny, she puts so much time into these newspapers, and then she puts like Easter eggs in them and like tiny articles about like people that we happen to know, and it's so much work, and that's her thing. But I always try and make people read them like 7 times. Whenever I see one lying around, I just like give it to someone, be like, here, read this. This is very important, because I play the Countess, so I get to make people do things, which is really nice. I was looking for my box of letters, but I can't find it right now. But it's like a tiny metal box. I don't know where it is. That's bad. I hope I didn't lose it in my mess. But it's and yeah, every single character has like a different color envelope, because they come from different places, so obviously they don't have the same envelopes. And like wax seals, because some people get letters from like their fancy family members who obviously have their own wax seal. And yeah, I am totally one of those people that puts so much effort into everything. I'm currently crafting notebooks, because we are organizing a magic school LARP for next January, and I'm currently crafting notebooks, so everyone has notebooks that are matching, because obviously that is extremely important for the aesthetic. And it's actually one of them I have here, and these are actual really old book covers that I got from a library, and I got them for free, and they have like this, they're so like pretty, and yeah, really so cool. That's the thing that I spend my free time on. But it's so much fun as well. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't enjoy it, right? But
we are just so on the same wavelength. And so I also have a different drawer of rubber stamps that I use to replicate like the stamp of the region the letter came from, and I have a headcanon for like, okay, this region of the game has the train stamp, and this region of the game has like the Queen cameo stamp.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if anybody but me noticed these things.
I think so. I feel like people are very appreciative of these tiny details, because they are the things that just deepen immersion, right? You can sit in someone's kitchen and do a mystery murder 20s LARP, whatever, and it's still immersive. But especially like when you have these tiny details that reflect something about, you know, where you are, what you're doing, etc. I feel like that just, for me, it deepens the immersion like 120%, and that's just, yeah. I am very appreciative of these things, and I feel like everyone else should be as well. Please, people that go to LARP events, start noticing these things, because we put a lot of effort into them. And it's so much time that I have spent stamping letters and coming up with designs for like stamps. That is, yeah, I spend a ridiculous amount of time on that.
Circling back to LARP organizing,
yeah.
So what unexpected challenges did you discover when you began organizing these LARPs in so much detail? And also, any unexpected pleasant surprises?
The funny thing is that so far, only one of the events that we have planned was able to happen. It happened in September 2019. Yes, that is correct. And well, besides the vampire thingy, but I don't count that because that's kind of like, that was, you know, just treading water, but we had to get into it. And we organized that LARP in a week because Jenny and I were both too scared to tell the other person that maybe we shouldn't be doing this, and so we were both like too awkward to say maybe this is not a wise choice. So we organized everything in a week. It was a lot of work, and that was an unexpected challenge. Turns out we work really great under pressure, and we did all of that in such a short time frame, that now that we have until November this year for Brockenburg to happen, for Somerton Hall to happen, we're kind of very confused about the fact that we're done. It's kind of like, how we have everything organized. We don't need to do anything. Like, it could happen tomorrow and we'd be there, we'd be ready. So yeah, besides that, people texting us that they're ill and us having to reorganize plot, which was very short notice, which was fine because, you know, the friend couldn't help being ill. But that was, yeah, it was very short notice. But at the same time, it was a blessing in disguise because we had forgotten that we needed an opening for our LARP because we just didn't write one. And we then made her not being there the opening, and we just kind of said like, oh, the lady's maid has run away, and she, you know, and she stole my bell because we forgot to buy a bell so I could ring for tea. And so I made it like this 10-minute screaming session of just me being there. Who stole my bell? She stole my bell and she's going to sell it to the Irish Revolution. And it was really dramatic. Or like, she's going to sell it to, I think she like left me a letter that we really quickly came up with. And it was like, I have run away. I've stolen your bell and I'm going to sell it to get married, something like that. And I had this like huge thing, which was kind of a huge icebreaker as well, because I was being so ridiculous that after that no one was scared to feel silly in their role, which I think was a good choice in the end. So that was both stressful and kind of not the thing that I needed for my first event, but at the same time it was a blessing in disguise because it kind of made everyone more chill, and it was kind of like okay, we can still manage and we can push through this. So yeah, it was a thing.
LARP organizing definitely teaches you a lot of quick decision making under pressure, because, you know, once you're already on the site and things start happening, you've got to just take them and readjust the plot or redo whatever. My very first event, for a few years I ran a steampunk LARP, And the very first event, just everything kept going wrong, and the weather was terrible, and like the big plot of the weekend just kept collapsing, and I didn't know what to do. And at this point, I started like freaking out. Like, I can't think of what plot to do to make up for this. But like, luckily, somebody else was like, I brought this spare monster that I made. It's in the trunk of my car. If that'll help. And I was like, what kind of monster? And it was like this big, like, spider suit that like took 2 people to operate it. And I'm just like,
oh my god, that's amazing.
You're my hero. Yes, we'll make the big plot of the weekend about hunting this spider creature instead, and nobody will ever notice that the plot I had intended dissolved.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's kind of, it has shown me that I am able to make these really quick decisions, and but yeah, that's very scary. I would be terrified if my entire plot just happened to just completely fail. That would, oh god, knock on wood that I don't have to go through that.
It was a few years ago, and I can't remember exactly why the plot didn't work out, but I think it was a matter of like some of the players that were required weren't there. Like, a staffer got sick, the props that we were trying to make for the mod hall like weren't working or something. Like, just it wasn't working out. And, yeah, luckily.
I had at an event I was at, we just didn't realize the plot was happening. That was also fun. So the plot for the Camp Half-Blood thing that I go to, which isn't a Percy Jackson Larp, Disney, don't sue us, thank you. We didn't realize that the Golden Fleece, which was extremely essential to the security of the camp, had been stolen, and we were just lying next to it, and I could see like my 2 friends organizing the event constantly going like, so yeah, and we just didn't catch it, and we just didn't realize it, and so they were kind of waiting for their players to figure out what the plot was going to be. We were just like lying in the sun having a great time. It was a fantastic game. It was absolutely lovely because it was boiling hot, and we were just chilling outside being teenagers, which was extremely appreciated. But yeah, we didn't realize that plot was happening, which was kind of funny. Which is also a struggle, I guess.
Sometimes you really have to feed people the information, just grab them by the side of the face. Plot.
Yeah.
That way. You get, when you're a player, you just get very into it. Sometimes things just pass you by. I don't know, just like player goggles that happen and you just miss things.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're like a teenager who's just, there. Because the thing is, what do they do in this camp? They learn how to fight. And what else? Nothing. Like, in the books, they have like weaving lessons, but no one could do that, so we didn't do that. So we just like sat in the sun, and it was just fun being stupid and 14. So you didn't necessarily even look for plot. It was kind of like, yeah, no, this is the thing I'm doing, and it's great, and I love it, and I'm wearing an orange t-shirt, and that's kind of it. And yeah, so that was great fun.
I did really like the t-shirts, despite not knowing anything about the thing.
Listen, my character hates these t-shirts with a passion. She is,
I remember you talking about that.
A 14-year-old Aphrodite child who has a huge thing for pink. This is her flower crown, and I felt like, and her blanket. And she's everywhere around this room for some reason. But it was kind of clear that we would have to wear these t-shirts, and so I made, for the next game, which is probably going to be next year, I made the very wise decision to buy bright pink camo pants, and I turned them into shorts, and I gave them like a trim of what is it, like glitter something. And it's like orange and pink reversible glitter thingy, and yeah, they are very attractive. It doesn't really matter, she's 14, but
I actually really like pink and orange as a color combo.
It's a choice. I can maybe send you I will send you a picture, and then you can like put it somewhere. And they're very, very interesting. But yeah, Kitty hates them. Kitty hates the orange t-shirts, and if it was for her, then everyone would run around in pink. But I don't think they should listen to her. She usually doesn't make good choices.
So you've talked to me and on Twitter about some of the ways that you've been working to make your home games more welcoming. And I also remember the presentation and YouTube video that you made about including more trans people in your games. Mm-hmm. How has that been going? And would you be willing to touch on some of that?
Of course, absolutely. When I started, or when I became part of the community that I'm part of, I realized that I didn't have to fight for my own space. I am a white woman, and I'm queer, but that was very accepted because everyone I was around was super gay. And so I didn't have to fight for my space in my community because everyone else was the same as me. And I think for a lot of LARPers make a very different experience, and especially a lot of roleplay gaming and like tabletop roleplay gaming, they make the experience of they are not part of the community necessarily because they are different or whatever. Because when I started learning about LARP, or when people around me talk about LARP, it's often the white cishet dudes in armor that are beating each other up on the battlefield. And when I realized that I didn't have to fight for a space, I also realized that this was my opportunity to create space, because I didn't have to create my own space, but I was able to create space for other people. And when we started writing our games, it was extremely important to us that they were as inclusive as we could possibly be. So for example, if someone wants to play a trans or a non-binary character in our like Edwardian 1915 LARP, then we will make that work, because trans people existed in 1915, and we think that it's very important that we tell these stories as well, because who are we to decide that no you can't do that in my game, because that is erasing an entire part of history. And it has been done with queer people, or with people of different sexualities for such a long time. So I don't want to be one of those people that does it with people with different gender identities. So yeah, that's something that's extremely important to us, and something that's always our core focus. Whenever we start a new project, our core focus is always, how do we make this inclusive for as many people as humanly possible? And yeah, that's something I'm really proud of as well, because a lot of the communities that I see outside of my own community aren't like that. And if I have the opportunity to be some sort of like or be part of the good side, then of course I would like to be on the good side of history, and not on the side of history that says like, oh no, you can't that's historically inaccurate, you can't do that. I don't care. It's, first of all, it's not. Second of all, so yeah, that's a huge deal for us.
I really love that answer.
Thank you. I think again, like, yeah, I had my space immediately. I was able to, I was welcomed with open arms and open doors, and it was kind of like, yeah, sure, you're part of this. And who would I be to not do exactly that to everyone that wants to come to my games? I mean, it's wild to me that people want to come to these games anyway, because it's just me and my friends being nerds on like Wednesday evenings and deciding, oh yeah, we should write our own magic school because we very much disagree with everything that the Queen of Turps has recently, said. So let's just take her idea and make it our own thing. And if I'm so actively against that in my real life, then I can't be supporting a system that I fight against in my play pretend life. I don't think that should be a thing. So yeah, also it would be ridiculous because loads of my friends are trans, and I would be an idiot if I did that, and it would exclude so many interesting stories. So yeah, let's not do that.
What advice, if any, would you give someone looking to get into LARPing for the very first time?
Have really weird friends, and just have friends that organize games. No, I'm kidding. I mean, that's really practical, and it's really nice because it also guarantees you a spot in one of your local games. No, I think about what type of people you want to play with. Think about what type of games that you want to go into, and have fun with it. Don't take it too serious. I feel like a lot of people can get very serious about LARP. I for sure do that too, and I get extremely serious with my own characters. I mean, I've been putting pearls on a dress for the past 7 days, and it's been ruining me and my hands because I've been, poking holes into my hands recently. But I do it with myself. It's kind of okay that I have been writing letters to fictional love interests because I just do it for me. But I feel like a lot of people will take their own standard and then apply that to everyone else. So have fun with it and just don't take this hobby too serious. Because at the end of the day, all of us are running through a forest pretending to be 14-year-olds. We're not 14-year-olds, but it's okay that we are pretending to be 14-year-olds. And it's kind of like, it's a hobby and it's not a job, and it shouldn't feel like a job. And if your game is starting to feel like a burden or a chore, then maybe then you're not doing the right thing. I understand supporting your community, blah, 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 but it's supposed to make you happy because it's one of the very few things that we are able to do in this capitalistic world to escape. Like, you wouldn't finish a movie that you don't like. You wouldn't finish a book that you don't like. Don't finish a game that you don't like, because that will not bring you happiness. And yeah, I think those would be the things. Also, invest in some good makeup remover. Do it. And yeah, coconut oil is your friend. that gets rid of everything.
Knowing when to leave a LARP, especially if you've invested a lot of costuming and time into it, is really important.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that just stay in kind of bad LARP situations. But
and it's not worth it. Sorry, yeah, no, but I feel like it's not worth it. Like, sure, you spend loads of money on this costume and you spend loads of time investing into this character, but at the same time, if your character was in a negative situation, they would try to leave. So why don't you make your character, it's kind of like you're putting yourself through it for your character, but I don't think your character would want that. Treat your characters like your friends, and if they would give you an advice, if their advice would be leave, then maybe you should take your character's advice.
So I also I'm gonna actually scooch the camera over a little bit. In the overlay. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us more about the dress?
Sure. It's a... Wait, let me pull it. Maybe if I turn my camera a little bit, you can see it better. It's a 1920s 1-hour dress. I got the tutorial off of YouTube because I am a creative person. It's a dress for a character that I am playing at this wizard school thing that we're coming up with. The character is a lovely witch who is half French and half German. She grew up in Germany but currently works in Paris, and I felt like she needed a really fancy dress. So it's a light blue satin that has like hip details, which I think is super fancy. You can't tell because I didn't iron it yet, because I can't, because I'm gonna steam it. And it has this like really pretty detail on the front and a really pretty detail on the back. Why are you so loud? And it has a cape.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love capes. And
same.
Gosh,
it's
like
just
a
so
beaded
pretty.
Cape.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And yeah, she's a really fancy lady. So she needed a really fancy dress, and yeah, that's for our LARP called Rockenburg, which is terribly difficult to say for everyone that isn't German. Also, I spilled my water all over my floor.
Oh, no.
Well done. Oh, it's okay. I think it's fine.
I will
but
say
yeah,
the captions are having a really hard time with that. I'm gonna have to get you to spell it out for me so that I can put it in the chat.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah.
This time, I don't know if you saw, but the captions wrote it down as Rottenberg.
That's not it. No, but yeah, that's our low game, and the character's called Celestina Boreal, which I found quite fancy.
I like that name a lot. Yeah.
And she went to Bobaton, so of course she has to rock the Bobaton colors. School pride. She went to Durmstrang and Bobaton because of course I had to make it extra. But yeah, I love this dress very much. It's been a lot of work, and I've been watching a lot of YouTube while putting on. I think this is like 25 or 30 meters of pearls, and I'm not done yet. So I have like another 20 meters to go just for the belt. So yeah, that's going to be great fun.
I do really enjoy the LARP prep. You put on a whole bunch of videos and you're just doing some crafting project that takes ages.
Yeah. And especially now with, LARP not happening at the moment, I feel like all of my characters have like 17 outfits because I just have so much time making stuff for them. So Celestina, this is a 3-day LARP. No, it's 2.5 days. She has 7 outfits. So I'm going to change like every 2 hours, and it's going to be glorious.
That seems totally reasonable.
Exactly. The Kitty, the character for the totally not Percy Jackson LARP, she has like 5 or 6 different outfits. She has like 12 different hairstyles that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna change my hair so much, and I kind of enjoy that. I kind of like the fact that because they feel more like people when they have more than just one standard look that they wear.
Yeah.
Quite like
they're not cartoon characters that have the same outfit and the same hairstyle for years.
Yeah, exactly. But they all evolve a lot at the moment, and I like that. It's the one thing that this garbage is good for.
So I know that you've not LARPed in America.
I have not, no.
So this might be a question that we may have to cut, but this was asked.
Okay.
So you can just guess, I guess. Or not. What are some things that are unique to European LARPs to you that we might not in America know about?
I think it really depends on the scene. I feel like it's really difficult to make like an umbrella statement for every single LARP game ever existent. I'm sure that there are games here that are very similar to the ones in America, especially since there has been this rise of blockbuster games all over Europe, which I'm not sure if I like them. I've never been to one, but every time I hear someone come back from one of these events, I'm kind of like, yeah, I know why I don't spend all of that money on going to Poland. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What is I mean,
well,
what is different is that you have a lot of different nationalities at games sometimes. Especially, our the Somerton Hall LARP is run in English, so we have people from all over Europe trying to join. At least right now we don't have spaces, but as soon as we get a bigger house, we'll have more spaces and we'll have more people. So if anyone from Europe wants to do an Edwardian LARP, let me know. We could make that happen. Because there's this one castle that we've been eyeing for like a years now, and we know that we can afford it if we have 40 people coming to the game. So we're kind of like, that's not that many. So if we find another 15 people that would like to play pretend to be Edwardian fancy people, we could do that at an actual castle, and everyone gets fancy rooms because all of the rooms are really fancy. So even the staff gets to feel fancy.
That's actually probably one of the things there is we don't have
a
lot of places to do fancy stuff like that. We don't have a lot of old castles.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff.
Everything is older around here. Yeah, I mean the place that we are going to book for the magic school Larp, which name I'm not going to pronounce anymore since the captioning is not going to take it. That is like an actual castle, and it has an actual what is it, like a wine cellar that was remodeled that still looks like it is from medieval times, because it was built in 15 something, and that's really, really cool, because we get to, not only do we get to put our own history in there, but we also get to experience the history of the place. And I think that's something that we in Europe have the privilege to do, because we have all of these old places all around us. Some of our churches are older than your country, and that's a fact. Most churches are older than your country, which is wild to me as someone who's never been to the US. That's just that's completely weird. Every time American friends come over, they're like, "Oh, that building is very old," and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's from the 50s. That's like a new building."
I'm actually really glad that you came on. I mean, I'm glad that you came on anyway, but there are a lot of stereotypes that exist over here about European LARPing, and I knew that they had to be fake. But so the big one that gets floated is that all European LARPers think that American LARPers are soft, and all of your combat is hardcore, and you use real steel, and you don't ever touch boffer weapons because that's for losers and soft Americans, which it really does sound like you're not. But that's not true.
No, that's definitely not true. No, absolutely not. I would never trust myself with an actual steel weapon. I would actually murder people, and that is heavily frowned upon, even in the LARP community. And no, I would definitely disagree with that. I don't think that that's true, and if whoever came up with that is definitely needs to work on their toxic masculinity. I don't know. That's not true. I feel like that was a European saying that about Americans rather than Americans saying that about Europeans. So no, I completely disagree.
I think it's just important to remember that there's going to be different LARPs in both places. LARPs that are more immersion focused, like your games, and obviously there are going to be some heavy combat ones in Europe.
Sure.
There's heavy combat ones here. There's
the
SCA and that sort of thing that you have to wear real armor and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that totally exists here. People reenact the Battle of Hastings every 4 years, I think. And then that's super cool. I actually know someone who has been to that game, and I'm super jealous. But also you need to do so many things in order to get in, because so many people want to do it, and women don't get to play knights, which I think is ridiculous, and I will fight them on. But yeah, because it's historically inaccurate. It's my least favorite sentence in the universe. Yeah, exactly. It might have changed, and it might not be true anymore. And they use actual weapons, and he got punched in the face with the sword, and that was not fun. But yeah, we definitely do soft games too. Absolutely, most definitely, yeah. And I think it's very important because these very combat heavy weaponry labs, they are extremely exclusive of people that don't have the physical ability to do that. I don't have the physical ability to do that, and I'm able-bodied. What is with someone with a disability? Then we immediately exclude them from our game, and that's the one thing that we don't want to do. So yeah, those wouldn't be the types of events I would want to play anyway, because they would be super exclusive. and don't like that, don't want to do that. I don't want to be part of the people that exclude people. I think that's the statement I keep coming back to.
So, do you have in your head a dream LARP that you hope to play someday or run? Like dream genre or style or intellectual property?
The totally not Hogwarts one is definitely one, because I get to create my own school. I grew up loving these books and I grew up loving this world, and I've been a fan of this universe since I was 5. I turned 25 last week, so it's been 20 years. Oh my god. It's been 20 years of me being, mentally stuck in that universe, and being able to organize a game that kind of like deals with that is incredible and makes my tiny heart jump with joy. And I think that was always my big dream, being able to do that. And the next type of lab I would like to get into or organize would definitely be something like X-Men themed, because like Charles Xavier, like Professor X type of school. I think that would be amazing. I know that something like that exists, but I've never been or never like met anyone that has been. So yeah, maybe that is my next adventure.
I think the one that I have heard of is one of those, very expensive blockbuster.
Exactly.
Types,
and I feel like that's extremely exclusive, and that's not something I want to go to. Maybe I need to organize my own, as I usually do. I have enough friends that really like X-Men, so maybe I need to do that.
Okay, so which X-Men would you want to be?
I would like to be Angel, but I would like to be the second Angel. So not the Angel from what is it, X-Men First Class, but I would like to be the Angel from Apocalypse, because I think that he's really cool, and he is. I just would like to have wings. I think that's kind of the deal. I would have said I would like to be what's her name? Dark Phoenix. I cannot come up with her name right now.
Jean Grey.
Jean Grey. But then again, the last film happened, and let's not. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I would like to come up with my own type of character to balance out all of that. Then again, being Beast would be really cool.
Yeah,
because Beast is really cool.
I think I'd want to be Nightcrawler, but I think that I would probably massively offend you and many other people by attempting a German accent.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine. The one in the film is the one in the film is very good. But it did also make me cringe, because it's too much. No one speaks like that. Even when they have a really extreme German accent, it's not that extreme. At least from my experience. But yeah, no. My Nightcrawler is an amazing character, and I totally get that. My favorite X-Men is Magneto. Because, but yeah, I wouldn't want to be a Magneto, because I like playing characters that are actually nice.
Yeah.
And I don't think Magneto is very nice, so yeah. Also, I don't think I could hold the standard of Michael Fassbender and Ian McKellen. I don't think I could live up to that legacy.
Yeah.
But that'd be awesome. That'd be really cool.
So I'll subject you to one more question, and hopefully this will be a fun one.
Okay.
So just final thing. Do you have a favorite story of something that happened to one of your LARP characters, or some grand adventure that happened in one of your games that you don't mind sharing with us?
I have one, but it's not fun. It's the kind of it's a bit of a sad story, really.
It doesn't have to be fun.
Okay. So for Summerson Hall, I play Countess Catherine Edwards of Maplethorpe, whose husband, Lord William Edwards of Maplethorpe, and her son, Samuel, went on a little trip to get Samuel's bride from America. They went on a ship that decided that icebergs were a great thing to drive into. And so I got a telegram in the middle of the game that told me that my husband and son had died on the Titanic. And I knew that it was going to happen, but I still cried real tears because it was a lot. So yeah, that was a very intense situation, and it was fantastic because it gave me the opportunity to understand this character a lot better, who just wanted the best for her son, who she loved so much. But on the other hand, it was great for everyone else as well, because they got to kind of experience different emotions, because it had kind of been very lighthearted throughout the rest of the day. So yeah, that was great. Also, Kitty's sibling, Aphrodite cabin sibling, accidentally slipped and fell into a river and nearly broke their head. So that was also great fun. Accidents happen around me. If you ever happen to lab with me, stay away from me. For some reason, I think I'm cursed, and people always fall on their face when they stand next to me. Yeah. There was a moment in a game once where we weren't sure if we were going to be attacked or not, and it was me and a friend standing guard, and that was also at the Totally Not Camp Half-Blood Lab, and we were kind of expecting something to happen, because I was cooking for that lab, and I got 2 different numbers for how many people were going to eat dinner with us, because one of my friends just had the wrong lists. And I knew how many people we were, and I knew how many people we were going to eat. Like, it was like 2 more people, so we were expecting that something was going to happen, and I was very genuinely terrified that someone was going to come attack me, because I was convinced that there were going to be more people, and that was very intense, and that was also that was very formative for my character, so I'm kind of glad that happened too. So yeah, maybe those.
So that was like spooking yourself out because of meta information?
Yeah. And it was fun, like, for nothing in quotation marks, because nothing happened, but at the same time, it was an emotion that my character would have felt in that moment. She would have been terrified that someone would have attacked her family, her people. And so we were standing there and we were looking into a forest, like swords drawn, and just waiting for someone to like come through the bushes. And that made it much more immersive in the end. So yeah, I'm kind of glad about that.
All right. So this was a lot of fun.
That was so much fun. Oh my gosh, I loved it. Thank you so much for having me. It was a great honor to be on this.
It was awesome to have you.
Thank you.
For everyone watching, do you want to go over your links and where to find you, etc.?
Let's go. Yes. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me at Midnight's Sophie. That is Midnight's Sophie. Midnight Sophie is a porn actress. That's not me. I'm Midnight's Sophie. That is also my normal Instagram, and if you want to go to my lab and character design Instagram, it's at Midnight's Looks. That is looks with K and S, so as in looking. And both of the games that I run, so Summerton Hall, the Edwardian game, has a Twitter account that you are very welcome to follow. We don't post a lot over there, but you're still, if you are interested in it, and if you're from Europe or somewhere else in the world and you would like to join us, then feel free to follow us there and message us there. And if you are German and currently not at a wizard school game, then you are very welcome to also follow us at Brockenburg, which is probably going to be somewhere, because the caption are not going to be able to pronounce that or like spell that out properly. It's at Brockenburg Lab, also on Twitter as well as Instagram. Not loads of posts, but we're going to work on that. I also have a Ko-fi that the link is going to be somewhere, and I would like to give everything that Everything that comes to me via this stream, I would like to donate to Mermaids Gender, which is a British foundation for trans children, and because that's something I'm very passionate about, and I would like to support them. So yeah, if you would like to leave them and me some money, then that's going to go to a very good cause.
Yeah, if you don't know about what's going on in the UK right now with everything there, all the rights they're stripping from trans people,
yeah,
look into it. Just it's content warning for just like a ton of TERFs and transphobia.
Yeah, it's disgusting, and everything that we can do to help people have their livelihood restored, we should.
Yeah, so that also goes for because as is Make Believe or Tales Make Believe policy, all bits go to the guest. So if you threw any bits this episode to Sophie, we'll be donating them as well.
That would be amazing. Perfect. That's my ad break over.
We'll spell all that stuff out in the
That's
chat.
probably a good idea. Yeah, that's probably a wise idea. Awesome, perfect.
Well, thanks so much for coming on and spending your time with us. And yes, just to close things off, I have a couple of quick shout outs to some folks who've contributed to the stream. So the overlay and all of the transition videos and GIFs were done by Just a Summer Job on Twitter. She's really talented, so go check her out. We definitely want to shout out our channel patrons, especially our channel benefactors, Sammy, Fennec, Heather, Corey, and Christina. So thank you so much for keeping the metaphorical lights on for the channel. As always, I super appreciate my mod squad and Discord co-founders. Their links are all down below the stream if you want to send them a Ko-fi or thank them for all the hard work they do here and on the Discord. And so, big thank you to them, Dan, Nick, Z, and our newest mod, Allie. And I hope to see you all here next week, where we have on Avalon and Diana, the voices of Femsplained podcast. They're super cool, so please be sure to check it out, and make sure that you get your questions in for them in the Questions for Guests section of the Make Believe Discord. Speaking of the Discord, I know I already shouted this out, but it's a pretty fun place to be. We have channels for LARP and TTRPG, opt-in channels for our trans and ace population, plus we have monthly ice cream social... I can say words. Plus we have monthly ice cream socials on the voice chat. We would definitely love to have you there. And with all that said, thank you so much for joining us, and remember, you're never too old for make-believe.